Welcome to a new ET Capital video. So today I'm going to be talking, as you can clearly see on the screen, about the importance of sticking to your plan. Now, this is a critically important uh, thing that I really cannot underestimate the importance of. Right? It is absolutely crucial that you as a trader, first and foremost, have a plan, and second of all, stick to your plan. Now, a lot of traders, they don't even have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, you have to just get that sorted out, right? If you're a trader and you do not have a plan, make a plan. And I'll get into, in future videos, I'll be talking about how to create a plan, the different aspects of a plan, and so on. So keep an eye out for videos on that if you are struggling to make a plan. But really, in your plan, you should be detailing essentially what you want to see, where you want to see it, how you're going to trade it, the various factors involved, the risk management, the allocated risk. Every single factor needs to be written down in a plan, and that's absolutely crucial, right? But what's even more crucial than that, and I think this is the difficult part. A lot of traders, they have a plan, right? So they have a plan written out, and that's a great first step. But I'm telling you right now that the reason the majority fail in trading is because they do not stick to their plan, right? They say they're going to do one thing and they just simply do not execute, right? They just simply do not execute on their plan, right? They say they're going to trade this way. When price hits this level, they're going to look for a short, and lo and behold, price hits that level, and what they just don't look for a short, right? They're afraid because price is pushing them to that level really fast, so they stop looking for shorts. They're like, oh, it's too strong, whatever, right? So I'm just gonna put here on the screen two reasons why it's so important to stick to your plan. I'm gonna give you an example in the charts um, that happened across the last 2 days, which just shows you the importance of sticking to your plan, right? So I'm gonna put it in right here. Right, okay. So number one, why you have to stick to your plan. An inconsistent input is going to equal an inconsistent output, right? So what I mean by that is if you're constantly doing random things to the charts, right? Constantly changing your plan day in, day out. And one day you're entering at this level, the next you're entering at this level. One day you're using, a stop loss above the high, the next day you're doing it behind the candle, whatever. How are you going to expect a consistent output, consistent results, consistent profit with a completely inconsistent input, right? It's a little bit delusional, right? So if you want a consistent output, you have to have a consistent input, right? That is just absolutely crucial to your trading. It's something that absolutely changed my trading. And the second factor, which I think is exceptionally important and overlooked, is that if you're constantly changing your plan, so constant change makes identifying issues difficult. If you are constantly changing your plan, you can never really identify where you're going wrong, right? How can you know? Because you don't have enough data to really say, oh, I'm going wrong here. This is a mistake I'm doing. For example, if I stick to my plan and every single day I look for a trade at a similar level, right? So I'm looking for a trade at a resistance and I'm looking to enter in when the 5 minute break structure. And I do that for a whole month. I will begin to see certain flaws in that system, right? And I can adapt and I can curate and I can change, right? But after a set period of time, right? If on Monday, on the opposite hand, if on Monday I'm, every time price hits a resistance, I'm trying to long, and then on Tuesday I try to short, and then on Wednesday I just, I start using EMAs, and then on Thursday I use the RSI indicator, right? You're never going to improve. You're never going to know where you're making mistakes, where you're doing, good things. It's going to be impossible to really adapt, to improve, to change, to just overall just to get trading success. Is going to be close to impossible, right? So first and foremost, you need to have a plan, and the next step is you need to stick to that plan. And what I would recommend is once you have created a plan, you need to stick to that plan for at least a whole month of consistently trading that plan. At least a whole month. And from there, after you have, say, 10, 20 trades, imagine, right? Just as an example, you take 20 trades in the month. You can now begin to identify certain flaws in that system. And if you pair that with backtesting the system, you can really begin to identify, okay, so maybe you constantly see, maybe you start and your plan has the stop loss way above here, right? And then you begin to realize, okay, none of my trades ever go up to here when they're hitting stop loss. The ones that go to profit, they normally only come up to the nearest, the most recent lower time frame high. So you can suddenly start shifting your stop loss to here, and you realize it's not really going to change my win rate, right? It's not going to really change my profitability, but it's going to minimize my risk on trades, right? So you can, and that's just an example, right? There's loads of different things that can shift. You might realize, okay, moving my stops to break even, that was initially in my plan, but I realized whenever I move my stops to break even, I end up getting stopped out, right? Certain things like that you can begin to identify very quickly, right? But it means sticking to your plan. And if you stick to your plan for a period of time, say a month, and you combine that with backtesting, that is when you really begin to see trading improvement, right? So right now I'm going to give you an example and delete that from the chart. And right now I'm going to give you an example of why it's so important to stick to your plan, okay? So I'm going to take you to the 1 hour chart, and this is the gold chart, and this is from the past 2 days, right? So I had this major level marked out right here at 1747.5. Like it's a big zone, right? This was my zone, my area of interest. And you can see on Monday the 21st of November, we had price push into that level, okay? Now, on this day, I was in the lower time frames and I was looking for shorts from this level, okay? I'm gonna get rid of this as well. So I was looking for shorts from this level, okay? That's not it, it's over here, okay. Right, here we are. So this is the exact thing that I was looking at, right? And if you don't believe me, you can see on my socials that I literally had a sell limit right at this price point. Right here, I had a sell limit order, okay? Now, so price did exactly what I was hoping. It entered my level, reacted away, nothing here, came back up, and then we had a nice break of structure, right? You can see price really nicely broke this low, right? So once we saw price break that low, I was now looking for entries. Now I wanted to see price come back up, but it just didn't quite activate my sell limit order. And the reason it didn't activate my sell limit order is because there's a very critical rule that I have in my trading. And that rule is that for me to enter, I have to see price trade back above at least the 50% level of the break of structure swing. And as you can see, price didn't quite do that. So there was absolutely no entry. There was no reason for me to enter that trade. And I didn't enter. But we did see then price just absolutely plummet down. And not only would have hit my full TP, my full TP would have, my first TP would have been these lows here. This is going to be a liquidity point, which is going to be this would be my first exit point, right here. And the reason is because it is a nice liquidity point, right? So that would be my first TP, and then my final TP would have been somewhere below this low for a Sarah runner, right? For example. But no trade because price never came above 50%, so it didn't meet my criteria. It met all the criteria for a trade except one, but I didn't take the trade. Okay? Now, what I could have done is the next day I could have suddenly shifted my whole system. I could have said, oh, well, I keep missing these trades, so I'm going to stop doing that, and I'm just going to wait for price to come to another level, right? I'm just going to wait for price. Once we get the low, I'm just going to enter as it breaks the low, right? That's a little bit extreme, but I could just say I'm going to just start entering as it breaks the low. Now, doing that would be, how would I measure my success from that, right? It would just be so difficult to measure my success and to have any consistent results if I'm just going to shift my model around, right? And the example of this is because the next day, which was today, a very similar scenario played out. Very, very similar scenario played out, right? So what we saw was price entered the exact same level once again, and look how price reacted. It start pushing around, start moving around. And I was looking on the 15-minute time frame because we'd see a lot of price action develop. So I was waiting for a little bit of a hard time frame, just the 15-minute break of structure. And we got that. We got the break of structure and we got the push back up, right? So this candle here, that is where I entered. Now, if you put a fib from this high down to this low, sorry, it was actually right here, down to that low, you can see, I'm just going to go into the 5-minute. I took the trade based on the 15-minute, but it's clear kind of on the 5-minute, right? So you can see that swing high to this swing low is where I took the trade. And you can see it just entered above the 50%. And for that reason, I entered the trade right on the high, okay? And, price went to all my TPs, well done, profit made, okay, wonderful. And it just shows you the importance of sticking to your plan. If I suddenly decided, after taking, missing a trade, oh, I need to change my plan, it's not working, I might have missed this trade. I might have looked for something absolutely ridiculous. Maybe I would have looked for a breakout. Maybe I would have just shifted. I would have said, okay, now I have to start entering over here. And then so I just enter way lower and suddenly my RR is way off. Now I'm only collecting 1.3 R as opposed to collecting what would have been, basically 2.2 R. So it's a massive difference. It's a massive shift. And how can I measure my results when I'm constantly changing my system, right? So this was a perfect example of the importance of just sticking to your guns, having a plan and sticking to it. And what I do is at the end of every month, after a set period of time, I'm going to look over all my trades. And if I see something that's blaringly obvious about my system, I will likely back test it and then shift my system ever so slightly. So if I notice, okay, I keep cutting my winners way short and they continue all the way down, and I need to start holding my trades longer, okay, maybe that's an area to change, but it comes with consistent results, consistently sticking to my plan, and that is why it is so important. So yeah, please take that on board, guys. It's absolutely crucial for successful trading. And that's it for today. So if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to follow these socials in the bio, and yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you next time.